It's a 10 out of 10. Review it again. A 10 out of 10. Review it again.
Hi everyone, Anthony here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of this new Saba record, Few Good Things. This is the newest full-length LP from rapper and songwriter Saba. It's been 4 years since the drop of the fan favorite Care For Me in 2018, a record I had a difficult time getting into despite its many conceptual and narrative bars. Because, at least in my opinion, Saba's flows and production choices came off a little too amateurish to hold a candle to his brainy hip-hop contemporaries that were obviously influencing this record. And I would say that's still the case for Few Good Things, but the quality gap this time around is a lot narrower. There are some noticeable cracks here and there in the track list I picked up on right away, like the opening track, Free Samples, whose gentle strings and bass arpeggios sound a little bit like something off of Kendrick's T-Pab. Saba's slowly intensifying flow later into the track doesn't make the connection any less obvious. Then there's Chef Lee's starting vocal lines that take up the whole first leg of the track, some of which are obviously off-key. It's not the best first impression for your entire record. Meanwhile, Fearmonger has a solid groove and some unique vocal inflections on the flow side, which go off the rails around the hook, sounding like Chance the Rapper trying to do a bad impression of the most eccentric Outkast chorus ever. Then there's A Simpler Time, which is instrumentally a complete mess. Just directionless neo-soul vocal licks and badly mixed raps, sitting on top of what sounds like a metronome, a cuckoo clock, and a typewriter in a knife fight. I hear the off-kilter style this beat is going for, but there's a very, very, very thin line between this kind of instrumental sounding like clutter and sounding together, and I think that line has been crossed. That being said, though, I think Few Good Things has a few good things on it. Some thoughtful, smooth, and meditative highlights to offer. Tracks that may fall on deaf ears if you're looking for something more aggressive, explosive, louder, bolder. Lord knows that's where my mind is at most of the time, but I can't deny there's something to the low-key groovy pop rap of One Way. The chorus on this one repeats like a dream you keep having over and over. There's something about the instrumental that sounds like a warm, fuzzy memory from the 90s. Meanwhile, Saba's bars indulge in this luxury fantasy that his recent success has afforded him, which feels especially surreal as he juxtaposes that against the financial struggles that he grew up with. There's then the slick, mesmerizing, and speedy flows packed into every corner of Come My Way, which features Crazy Bone. I think you don't really need to know too much more than that to understand the kind of legacy, the torch that Saba is carrying stylistically on this track. Lyrically, Saba is daydreaming about making money on this one. It's essentially this record's first of the month. Still, with Smino and Black maybe the most mesmerizing track on the entire LP, but it's not all vibes. Saba throws a banger into the mix right off the bat with the song Survivor's Guilt featuring G Herbo, and Saba doesn't hesitate to very aggressively dive into the emotions he's been wrestling with since making it out of the poverty he was born into, with understandably bitter portrayals of street violence and food deserts. The somewhat mystical trap beat on this one works really well with the fiery gang choruses, but then again there are moments on this thing that remind me a little bit of Care For Me, in that they don't go far enough, or they deliver a really strong core concept idea, but they aren't wrapped in a super definitive song or sound. The track Soldier, for example, features this Kendrick chorus matched with beats and flows that sound like they could have been lifted off of Outkast's ATLians. But still, the opening verse on this track about Saba becoming a father is one of the best this record has to offer. The production on If I Had a Dollar is a little one-dimensional with its woozy keys and dry trap beats, but I do love the song's sentiment about winning, failing, growing, progressing. Not to mention Saba's sung chorus on the track is way better than I would have expected. Stop It Please continues the record's narrative of wrestling with success, to the point where Saba is almost having an internal argument here over things like jealousy, spending money frivolously but also trying to build wealth for his family, with some really sharp rhyme schemes too, like the alliteration on "When you hit the mattress, imagine a mansion. I feel like a madman amassed in the vain livin'." I also love how he switches switches the pitch of his voice at this point in the song into a deeper, darker tone as he kind of bounces around from line to line like he's kind of fighting with himself. There's a lot of overwhelming feelings, a lot of overthinking feelings in a way on this track. I mean, he's really kind of, you know, having it out with himself. From here, we move into the final leg, which is a little mixed. The pitched foghorn sung vocals at the midpoint of Make Believe completely ruin the relaxed vibe the track is clearly going for. But conversely, the song 2012 is a spectacularly beautiful picture of young love and growing up, with Saba rapping about a point in his life where, in a way, he had nothing, but simultaneously he had everything. Plus, the groovy and simple melodic beat on this one does a lot with little. Then we have the massive title track, the closer on this thing, that sports a big guest verse from Black Thought, who reinforces a lot of the themes of the track overall. Saba revisits a lot of what he's been wrestling with throughout the LP, like a concierge, I show the way of our concern and past, but everybody can't come along, I've come to terms with that. And his ability to come to terms with that, and a host of other things on this track too, is part of what makes this song such an effective tie-up for the whole project. It is a legitimately strong finish for a record that honestly is a bit of a rocky road. It truly does have a good heart and good spirit though. I think Saba's improved a lot creatively and artistically since Care For Me. He certainly covers a lot more bases effectively on this one, but in my opinion, he's still yet to fully grow past his influences and also weave together all of the thoughts that he's diving into on this record into a larger, more coherent macro picture, also unpack them on the micro level in a way that feels legitimately profound. But he's trying and mostly succeeding on this project. I hear a lot of progression on this effort, and I can only hope that that progression continues onto future records. I'm feeling a strong 6 on this one. Transition, have you given this record a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe, and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head, it's another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, few good things, forever.